Hi there. Welcome to Nuggets of Gold, or welcome back to Nuggets of Gold. So glad you jumped in with me for a couple of minutes today. This evening, I am going to be leading a Bible study, small group in my home. We're looking at the book of Genesis, and tonight we're going to be in Genesis chapter 3, which is where the serpent, Satan, comes into the garden and begins to tempt Adam and Eve. As I was doing some studying this morning, I thought I would share with you a verse or two that kind of shows the stinky underbelly of the temptation that comes after us. And so let me read from Genesis 3. I think you're going to find this to be extremely personal because you and I have crawled after this stinky underbelly time and time again. And I want to give us a chance for the Word this morning, get a nugget from the Word that can expose some of that stinkiness and set us on a fresh path to fight against that stinkiness. So that's where we're going to go in the next couple minutes. The serpent comes in and tempts the man and the woman with the fruit, and he says... The woman, Eve, says to the serpent, God said we can't eat this or we will die. I'm going to pick up at verse 4. The serpent said to the woman, you will not surely die. For God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and then you'll be like God. Then it moves on to the woman's response. What did she do when Satan told her, you're not going to die? It's going to be good for you. Verse 6, so when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was a delight to the eyes, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate, and she also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Let's pause and pray for a moment. I want to make sure I've got my my thoughts in line and come back and share just for a minute or two or three about what we can take away from this. Okay, here we go. The serpent said, you will not surely die. The one thing you need to know about temptation is it tells you the opposite of the truth. Sin and temptation tells you the opposite. Satan said to the woman, you won't die from this. It will be okay. And in fact, it brought the opposite. When we look at what God tells us and we seek to do the opposite, it brings harm. It brings death. It brings pain. You will not surely die, and they did. It brought physical death into the world. Then Satan says, God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened. So temptation says God doesn't know what's best for you. God is holding back what is best for you. And temptation is saying, you can have this. It will be okay. It will even be better for you than what God says is good for you. Think of your own temptations now. Think of the sins that trip you up. Maybe lust, maybe laziness, maybe anger, maybe greed, maybe working in dependence on yourself, or pride, or haughtiness, or complaining. Think of your own sins. What is it that they are promising that is something that's beyond what God says is good for you? What are they promising that you're not trusting God for? So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, here's another piece of temptation awareness that we need to know. The woman looked at it and it looked good. And it was a delight to the eyes. Temptation looks good. We're drawn to these things that trip us up because they have the appearance of something that will satisfy us. They have the appearance of something that will get us where we want to go. And so I just over the weekend, I attended a conference, just a one night conference with my boys on lust. And one of the testimonies that was given was from a man who said, I longed for intimacy. I longed for relationship. And so pornography got a deep grip on me. And instead of giving him intimacy and relationship, pornography actually isolated him from other people. It made him more lonely. It had the appearance of something that would be beneficial and bring him what he wants, but it didn't. Or I think of a spouse who gets angry and uses anger and uses force to try to get what they want, or a parent with their kids who tries to use anger. And anger in the moment feels like I can make things just. I can make things my way. I can solve the problem right here and right now. And instead of actually solving problems, anger, yelling, frustration creates larger problems down the line. It doesn't solve. It may give a moment of peace, but it leads to long-term relational breakdown and not helpfulness. And so on and so forth. It goes with temptation, whatever it is. Laziness says, rest, this will be good. And then a day later, a week later, a year later, laziness costs us something. It has a toll that it brings with us. Your temptation will bring you the opposite of what it promises. That's what I learned from Genesis 3. Your temptation, my temptation, will bring us to the opposite place of where we actually wanted to go. That's the warning I want to deliver to you today. That's what I want you to be thinking about as you face temptation. This is actually looking good, but it's going to take me to the opposite place that I wanted to go. Think on it, pray on it, ask God for victory, and we will see you next time for another nugget.